We're standing at the edge of something big, something that's been building quietly, piece by piece, while most people were too distracted to notice. But now the signals are flashing red across the board. This isn't just about a government shutdown or a few delayed flights. This is about a systemic unraveling that's going to hit millions of Americans in ways they're not prepared for. And I'm not here to sugarcoat it. I'm here to walk you through the signals, the implications, and the leverage points, because if you understand the scenario, you can model your next move with clarity. Let's start with the shutdown. On the surface, it looks like it might be ending soon. Federal agencies are already emailing workers to prep for a return to the office. That's the headline, but the subtext, that's where the real story is. Because even if the government flips the switch back on tomorrow, the ripple effects are already in motion. Air traffic control, TSA, airport vendors, entire ecosystems have been bleeding revenue and morale for weeks. I spoke to someone who runs a pastry stand at DFW. His business has been gutted. No flights, no foot traffic, no sales. Multiply that by every small operator in every major airport, and you start to see the scale. But that's just the first layer. The deeper issue is data, or rather, the lack of it. The Bureau of Labor Statistics and other key agencies have stopped publishing economic indicators. That means no jobs report, no CPI, no unemployment rate. We're flying blind. And when policymakers don't have data, they can't model outcomes. They can't adjust interest rates. They can't calibrate stimulus. They're guessing. And when the people in charge are guessing, the people on the ground, suffer. Now, here's where it gets even more surreal. While we're in this data blackout, there's talk, serious talk, about rolling out $2,000 tariff rebate checks and even 50-year mortgages. Yes, you heard that right. 50-year mortgages. That's not a typo. That's a signal that the system is so strained, so distorted, that the only way to keep it from snapping is to stretch the timeline into absurdity. You don't offer 50-year mortgages unless you've run out of other levers to pull. And while some people are cheering this as relief, economists are warning it's a trap. It's a short-term sugar high that locks people into long-term fragility. And let's be clear, this isn't just about housing, it's about the entire cost of living matrix. Car payments are averaging $700 to $800 a month. Add insurance, ride, fuel, maintenance. You're looking at over $1,000 just to keep a vehicle on the road. And that's for people making $4,000 to $5,000 a month. Do the math. It doesn't work. And when the math doesn't work, repossessions spike, which is exactly what's happening. Car repos are up 43% since 2022. That's not a blip. That's a trend. That's a warning shot. And it's not just cars. California just announced it's revoking 17,000 commercial driver's licenses issued to immigrants. The official line is that it's about compliance and legality. But the practical effect? We're already short on truckers, bus drivers, and freight operators. How we're pulling 17,000 more off the road. That means delays. That means higher costs. That means more pressure on supply chains that are already stretched thin. And all of this is happening while the political theater ramps up. President Trump is pushing for those $2,000 tariff rebate checks, trying to position himself as the guy bringing relief, but Democrats are pushing back, questioning the legality, the funding source, and the timing. Some are even saying the Supreme Court might block the move entirely. Meanwhile, new Epstein emails are surfacing, dragging Trump's name into the mix and reigniting old scandals. Whether it's a smear campaign or a legitimate concern, the timing is strategic. It's all part of the same game: distraction, division, delay. And while they play politics, the rest of us are left to navigate the fallout. So let's zoom out. What does this all mean? It means we're in a moment of manufactured uncertainty, a moment where the institutions we rely on, government, finance, infrastructure are either paralyzed or weaponized. And in that kind of environment, you can't afford to be passive. You have to model scenarios. You have to ask, what happens if the data blackout continues? What happens if inflation spikes, but the CPI never gets published? What happens if the rebate checks go out and then get clawed back by the courts? What happens if the mortgage market shifts to 50-year terms and locks an entire generation into debt servitude? These aren't hypotheticals. These are live variables. And the only way to navigate them is to stay ahead of the curve. That means watching the signals, not the noise. That means understanding that when the government says we're reopening, it doesn't mean the system is fixed. It means the bleeding has been paused. Temporarily, it means the data will start flowing again, but it'll be retroactive, incomplete, and politically filtered. It means the relief checks might hit your account now, but they might also come with strings attached. It means the mortgage terms might look attractive now, but they could become a trapdoor later. And it means that while the headlines focus on Trump, tariffs, and TSA, the real story is unfolding in the margins, in the repossession lots, in the shuttered airport kiosks, in the empty trucking routes. That's where the truth lives. And that's where we need to be looking, because if you can see the edges, you can anticipate the center, you can model the next move. You can prepare. And that's the whole point of this channel. Not to scare you. Hey guys, in a world pushing you to own nothing and be happy, crypto is your key to survival. Join Angry's Crypto Academy to master buying, selling, and trading crypto. Make huge profits and safeguard your wealth. Plus, discover the one crypto virtually no one is talking about, poised to create new millionaires in the upcoming bull run. The link is in the description of the video below. Go check it out now. Not to sensationalize, but to equip you, to give you the tools, the frameworks, the scenarios, so you're not caught flat-footed when the next wave hits. Because it will hit. And when it does, you'll want to be the one who saw it coming, the one who already had a plan, the one who didn't wait for permission to adapt. So here's the bottom line. Don't get lulled by the headlines. Don't assume that reopening means recovery. Don't assume that relief means stability. And don't assume that the people in charge have your best interests in mind. Assume that the system is strained. Assume that the data is incomplete. Assume that the relief is temporary. And then build your strategy from there. Because in a world this volatile, clarity is leverage, and leverage is survival. So stay sharp, stay skeptical, stay ready, and I'll see you in the next one. That's the core. But now let's stretch it. Let's build out the scaffolding around this moment, because what we're seeing isn't just economic, it's psychological, it's behavioral, it's institutional. When you revoke 17,000 licenses, you're not just disrupting logistics, you're signaling that compliance is now weaponized. When you float 50-year mortgages, you're not just offering relief, you're admitting that the system can't sustain itself on normal terms. When you shut down data flow, you're not just pausing reports, you're blinding the pilots flying the plane. And when you do all three at once, you're not managing a crisis. You're manufacturing one. This is what I call engineered fragility. It's when the system pretends to be broken just long enough to justify a new rule book. And if you're not modeling that, you're behind. Because engineered fragility always comes with engineered consent. You'll be told it's for your safety, for your stability, for your future. But what it really is, it's a pivot, a reset, a redefinition of what normal looks like. And if you don't define it for yourself, someone else will. So let's define it. Let's model it. Let's build the framework. Start with income volatility. If your paycheck is stable, but your cost matrix is rising, you're not winning. You're eroding. If your rent is fixed, but your groceries spike, You're not surviving, you're subsidizing someone else's margin. And if your debt is long term, but your relief is short term, you're not being helped, you're being harvested. That's the game. And it's not new. It's just louder now, more visible, more desperate because the margins are thinner, the buffers are gone, and the narratives are cracking. So, what do? You build leverage, you build clarity, you build optionality. You stop waiting for permission and start modeling outcomes. You ask, what happens if the CPI is wrong? What happens if the jobs report is delayed? What happens if the stimulus is clawed back? What happens if the mortgage terms shift again? You don't panic, you don't freeze, you model, you scenario, you adapt because that's what this moment demands. Not reaction, not outrage, but clarity, strategic clarity. And that's what I'm here to deliver. Not just commentary, not just critique, but frameworks, tools, leverage so you can build your own playbook, your own map, your own edge. Because in a world this volatile, waiting is a liability. It's a trap disguised as a lifeline. And the longer you wait, the fewer moves you have left. That's why I keep saying clarity is leverage. Because when you understand the mechanics, you stop reacting and start positioning. You stop absorbing shocks and start building buffers. You stop hoping for stability and start engineering resilience. And that's the shift. That's the pivot. That's the mindset that separates the vulnerable from the prepared. So let's talk about buffers, not just financial, but informational, emotional, strategic. If you're relying on mainstream headlines to tell you what's happening, you're already late. If you're waiting for official data to confirm what you're seeing on the ground, you're already behind. And if you're assuming that the people in charge are playing a long game with your best interests in mind, you're already exposed. Because the real game isn't about stability, it's about control of the narrative, control of the flow, control of the options. And the only way to counter that is to build your own control. So stay sharp, stay skeptical, stay ready, and I'll see you in the next one.
Nothing says you care like crypto. Nothing can compare. Nothing says you care like crypto. Oh, nothing can compare to crypto.